Someone. Today we've got a show that we're going to be going over. The topic is death, and not in the actual sense of dying. The topic is, what do you want to do before you die? So this is kind of one of those topics that is to help people realize that we only get one shot at life, and we're here on Earth, and we better make the best of it. And, for some of us, we go out there, live our lives day to day, and, we have these dreams, we have these desires. However, for whatever reason, we lack the ability to take action. And so what I wanted to do today is kind of talk about things that are important for us to try before we die, right? And we have, we had, death is not fun at any time, but, recently we had the passing of a big superstar, Kobe Bryant, and here's a young man who's athletic, who's strong, who's young, with all the financial security that one could ask for. He's not like an old individual who's at the end of his life. This guy was, definitely in his life. He was getting ready to entertain Hollywood, from what I understand, and start a whole new career, which he was super excited about. And basically, you never know when it's going to come to an end. And so with that, that's why I wanted to talk about, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, earlier this week, and he's one of these individuals that has a 9-to-5 that he's had forever, that he doesn't love. He dreads, the Mondays, he loves the Friday, yet it provides a comfortable financial security for him and his family. And so due to that, he stays there. He stays at his job and wishes he could leave. But the funny thing is he could, right? He could leave. He wishes he could, but the reality is he has that choice. Nobody's making him stay there. He feels the pressure to stay there because of financial obligations he has. He's gone out, he of course has a house, a nice car, all these things, and so he's afraid that if he leaves this job security that those things might not get taken care of. At the end of the day, he does have the choice, though, to leave. He does have the choice to downsize. He does have the choice to sell his car and get a less expensive car. He does have the choice to lessen his expenses, although he chooses at the same time not to, because for him, which is kind of what the topic that I want to kick around today is the unhappiness of spending 5 days of the week where you are worth the material things that you have obligations to now. Now we're talking material things, obviously, nice cars, nice houses. You can definitely downsize. There's a gentleman out there by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk. He says he would, if he lost all his money and had to start over again, and this is a multi-millionaire entrepreneur out of New York City, he said he would get he probably wouldn't move in with his parents, but that's an option for a lot of people, right? Move back in with their parents. And not forever, it's temporary. But what he did say is, he would probably get a bunch of roommates to minimize his cost. Rent a house, get a bunch of roommates, rent a room, do whatever you needed so that his cost was super minimal. Then he'd get the cheapest car, so his month-to-month expense would be extremely minimal. Now, for some of us, we have kids and families, and so obviously we got to take those things into consideration. But in the most simplest form, you do have the choice, right? To downsize, you do have the choice to, lessen your expenses, find a place where you're going, but the sacrifice is sometimes uncomfortable, right? Who would want to live with a bunch of people, depending on your age, and just to keep in mind, Gary Vaynerchuk is, close to 50. But that's how hungry and driven he would be, that if he lost everything, he'd want to come back with success. At the age of close to 50, he would be willing to go live with a bunch of roommates again. I mean, that's uncomfortable. That's not like a comfortable day to day, you know, that a lot of people want to give up. And so, basically, are these things that keep us at our job, you know, hypothetically worth it, or are more important, or for whatever reason, you know, we spend 40 to 50 hours a week of our lives at these places of work that, for many people, they're not happy to be there, but because they don't want to downsize, they don't want to temporarily go through the uncomfortable situation of making the choice, their own choice. They have that ability to choose, and that's the beautiful thing. For some of you, you will choose that. You'll be like, yeah, why don't I do that? But for others, they're not willing to make that uncomfortable situation your reality, to basically be uncomfortable, make that uncomfortable choice, and put yourself in an uncomfortable situation for a temporary amount of time so you can live off of minimal expenses to take the risk of losing that job and going and doing what it is that you love for a living, right? And that might be working at another place for less money, but it makes you more happy. That might be starting your own company. You know, for many people, they have a dream to be their own boss, which is a great dream. And that's why I love real estate. Real estate allows me to be my own boss. I have the flexibility to, you know, do as I want, when I want, for the most part. Can't do everything I want, but at any particular time, you know, I do have obligations to my projects that I'm fixing and flipping. I do have obligations to clients. I do have, you know, work obligations, so it's not like I have absolutely 100% free time, but I have a lot of flexible time due to being my own boss. So, you know, that's why I love real estate. This is a real estate show, hypothetically, but you know, this is something that me and my buddy were kicking around. I was like, why don't you, you know, downsize your house? Why, you know, it's a great market. Why don't you sell and then go rent for a minute? You know, I'm not saying forever, or buy something cheaper that's gonna, you know, lower your expenses. Maybe sell that fancy car. But this was a hard choice for him to come to grips with. But he has a choice. That's the beautiful thing, is he has the choice. So at the end of the day, he's choosing to be unhappy. That's the crazy part, is when we broke it down, he started to realize, holy crap, I'm unhappy at my 9 to 5. However, me being unhappy at my 9 to 5 is my choice that I'm choosing to be unhappy. And it really kind of woke him up a little bit. And, you know, he's now definitely kind of reconsidering, kind of, you know, assessing his financial obligations. He's looking at his expenses, and, you know, kind of just, we kicked around a bunch of ideas on stuff that he might be able to go do. But I guess in general, stuff that he would want to do, right? Something that he was happy on a Monday morning getting up to go do, versus dreading Monday morning and looking for Friday to show up. So, you know, there's things out there. What do we want to do before we die? Well,